Tonight is the story of Dinah. Now Dinah, the daughter of Leah, the daughter Leah had born to Jacob, went out to visit the women of the land. When Shechem, son of Hamor, the Hivite, the ruler of that area, saw her, he took her and violated her. His heart was drawn to Dinah, daughter of Jacob, and he loved the girl and spoke tenderly to her. And Shechem said to his father Hamor, "Get me this girl as my wife." When Jacob heard that his daughter Dinah had been defiled, his sons were in the fields with his livestock, so he kept quiet about it till they came home. Then Shechem's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Now Jacob's sons had come in from the fields as soon as they heard what had happened. They were filled with grief and fury because Shechem had done a disgraceful thing in Israel by lying with Jacob's daughter, a thing that should not be done. But Hamor said to them, "My son Shechem has his heart set on your daughter. Please give her to him as his wife. Intermarry with us, give us your daughters, and take our daughters for yourselves. And you can settle among us. The land is open to you. Live in it and trade in it and acquire property in it." Then Shechem said to Dinah's father and brothers, "Let me find favor in your eyes, and I will give you whatever you ask. Make the price for the bride and the gift I'm going to bring as great as you like, and I'll pay whatever you ask. Only give me the girl as my wife." Because her sister Dinah had been defiled, Jacob's sons replied deceitfully as they spoke to Shechem and his father Hamor. They said to them, "We can't do such a thing. We can't give our sister to a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace to us. We will give our consent to you on one condition only, that you become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we will give you our daughters and take your daughters for ourselves. We'll settle among you and will become one people with you. But if you will not agree to be circumcised, we will take our sister and go." Their proposal seemed good to Hamor and his son Shechem. Obviously, they did not know exactly what was involved. The young man, who was the most honored of his father's household, lost no time in doing what they said, because he was delighted with Jacob's daughter. So Hamor and his son Shechem went to the gate of their city to speak to their fellow townsmen. "These men are friendly towards us. They want us to" what? They said, "Let them live in our land and trade in it, and the land has plenty of room for them. We can marry their daughters and they can marry ours, but the men will consent to live with us as one people only on the condition that our males be circumcised as they themselves are. Won't their livestock, their property, and all their other animals become ours? So let us give our consent to them, and they will settle among us." All the men who went out of the city gate agreed with Hamor and his son Shechem, and every male in the city was circumcised. Yes, I'm reading the whole chapter at once before I stop. 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, so it usually takes about 4 days to stop being in pain, just so you know, in case I forget to mention that later. But 3 days later, while all of them were still in pain, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, took their swords and attacked the unsuspecting city, killing every male. They put Hamor and his son Shechem to the sword and took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. The sons of Jacob came upon the dead bodies and looted the city where their sister had been defiled. They seized their flocks and herds and donkeys and everything else of theirs in the city, and out in the fields they carried off all their wealth and all their women and children, taking as plunder everything in the houses. Then Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on me by making me a stench to the Canaanites and the Perizzites, the people living in this land. We are few in number, and if they join forces against me and attack me, I and my household will be destroyed." But they replied, "Should he have treated our sister like a prostitute?" Well, let's just identify these characters. First off, it is impossible, or almost impossible, to find a modern translation of the New Testament that has those headings before chapters to tell you what's happening in that section that doesn't say the rape of Dinah. And it's very rare to find a modern translation that doesn't use the word rape in the story. It's virtually impossible to find any Bible commentary that does not use the word rape in this story. And it's almost impossible to find anyone who's preaching on this to not use the word rape in their sermon. It seems, as I plow through the Old Testament in the year 2010, that one of my jobs is to point out what is in the Bible and what isn't in the Bible. While this story would make a better Lifetime movie if Dinah had been raped and then the brothers got revenge, justifiably, sadly, the account of truth doesn't say that. Actually, the account of truth says that this man defiled Dinah, and the next sentence says that he loved her and wanted to marry her. Now maybe we have a gap theory growing here. Maybe something happened between the time he raped her and the time he fell in love with her. Maybe 100 years went by. Maybe God sent a flood and wiped out mankind and started over, and that's why the earth was void and without form. And maybe that's why one day he's raping her, but then he gets around to thinking, yeah, I'm actually quite fond of her. Yes, it must be love. Well, I find that insulting. We've established on sodomy night at Church Diverse that rape has nothing to do with love. Rape has nothing to do with healthy sexual relations, and rape has nothing to do with sexual orientation. And therefore, it is insulting to assume that just because we keep hearing the word rape when the Bible uses a term for defile, that's what occurred here. Because for him to turn around after raping her and saying, I love her, and her apparently going along with this marriage thing is insulting to the actual people involved, and it's insulting to our cultural sensibilities. I've grappled with this all day. I've spent the whole day thinking about the one incident that occurred, and I finally came up with it. Because he was not of the 12 tribes of Israel, because he wasn't a Hebrew, it was called defiling, that he defiled her. Had he been an Israelite, it would have read, he married her. That's what I figured out. That what occurred here was a consensual act. A consensual act. There's absolutely no evidence that Dinah said no. Someone was in the kitchen with Dinah, strumming on that old banjo, and she didn't mind the music. All right? No, I won't say, Dinah, won't you blow here? Someone already did that tonight, and I said, that's really appropriate. Okay, so now, that's the truth. This is written from a Hebrew perspective. This is written saying that the most disgusting thing happened to this woman because a non-Israelite was with her.